Hello, Combo Lords. What is up? In this stream, which I know I streamed earlier today, but like I said, I expected I would have a reason to be back. Ironically, also a reason to be back on my main channel, where we will be putting out a final exam right when this stream ends. But first, we need to come along for a little ride of passing a milestone to a new amount of digits in the base we're stuck in. Something that I have mixed appreciation for because I am skeptical of the power of the number 100,000. It's a bit overrated. But at the same time, I do like digits a lot, and within any base, the numbers that are the new digit are a perfect power, and we are going to pass the perfect power that signifies the new digit in the base we are stuck in. And right now I'm panning around the classroom just because if anybody hasn't happened to see from my last stream, but happens to be joining for this one, well, I did already have to change one of the modular resets around the classroom and my shift to grade -2, which was I got a bit of a haircut. I cut my own hair during a scene for the finale episode. Not the final exam, but the long documentary-like finale coming later. And I will show that to you now, which is... I decided to halfway cut my hair. Not fully cut it, because some people wanted me to completely cut all my hair off, some wanted me to have none, and I decided we're gonna go halfway there. So I half cut my hair, as you can see. It's only gonna be for a couple weeks, but this is how we're gonna be for the finale. Now, as we can see, we are very, very close here to this interesting base milestone, and we may tick downward at times because some people subscribe here for a short they've seen, do not actually want to join, as we can see, do not actually want to join me for the entire rabbit hole of combo learning and combo life. And that's okay, because as we trickle out people who only were around for a little piece of fun knowledge they wanted but weren't really going to stick around, we get to, whoa, what was that? A more and more concrete amount of combo, that was wild, amount of combo lords that are really along for the ride, who will join us making cool comments and learning and growing along with us. And to the combo lords who are, that was weird, to the combo lords who are especially ready to join for the ride of thinking yourself as part of it and learning, you may enjoy the final exam I'll be dropping, and you'll at least enjoy the final exam video that will be coming out right as soon as this stream ends. So much stuff's happening today. It's Pi Day in some time zones. For me, it's Pi Day tomorrow, but it's Pi Day in some time zones already. Oh my god, we're getting so close to this thing. It's... okay, today on the 13th happens to be a date where I haven't drank any alcohol in 7/4 of a year. I haven't drank in a long time for personal reasons, and happens to be exactly that amount, 1 3/4 right now. And it also happens to be the day I had the final exam finished for the main channel. And it happens to be the day that right after I finished that, I was filming for the finale, and I cut off half my hair and shaved half my beard. So, a lot going on at once, but since we were passing this digit, I was like, we gotta live stream again, I gotta let you folks along for the ride. And as we can see, we're going both directions quite fast, but that means that once we pass it, there's a chance we'll dip back below, but that's all right. We'll consider it as meaning we've passed it twice. Now, that would actually be kind of funny in a sad way if somebody did so well that they had a 100,000 subscriber special, then a 200,000 subscriber special. Then they were in some huge controversy and lost a lot of their fans. They like said something really offensive and lost all the fans. And then they had to then they got below 100,000. So then we're like, okay, another 100,000 subscriber special. We're back. In any case, we are going to be super close. Now, it's still sinking into me that this channel has gone so fast, because I've been working on combo class for a bit over a year, but none of the footage was out a year ago, and this channel I didn't actually start posting on until last September. And so last September 1st, I started putting out the shorts, which I had filmed as of a few months before that on this channel. And that means it's only been a little under 28 weeks that any footage has been on this channel. Less than 200 days any footage has been on this channel, even though, and some of it's been filmed a little longer, but all of it's been filmed less than a year. So it's super crazy. It's still sinking in. A lot of it happened so fast, like today's happened so fast, that I was gonna like have some friends or family in. I might have a family member make an appearance later, but I am not sure because it all just happened so quick. I was like, gotta start the live stream, gotta finish my final exam and start the live stream. But as it sinks in, it's pretty cool. It sunk in enough that I just quit my job, basically. Meaning, I'd already had to sort of half quit when I got 2 really intense surgeries last year that I'll talk about in the finale episode and maybe a little bit in this stream. And I still had a good amount of private students I was teaching at that point. And only as of the beginning of March, not even 2 weeks ago, did I fully stop that as well, just to focus on combo class, as well as combo class related projects like the books I'm writing, which are some of which are math textbook like and some of which are fiction but combo like. And we're getting very close again. And so it's really wild that we've already built not only just whatever this amount of subscribers means, and oh my god, and on the main channel like 25,000 that are probably equally in power to this channel because they're a little more diehard, or more percent of them are diehard fans on the main channel, on the combo class one. And some of them don't even tune into this channel, so they're just going to see the final exam drop, and then they're just going to see me with this beard get shaved in the finale. But you folks on this channel get what started out as a behind the scenes and now has arguably a bigger fan base, definitely in terms of subscribers. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, it's a rep unit. This is actually arguably a cooler number than 100,000. And this one's also cool, but as I said, you know, you're gonna go back once in a while. I wasn't sure if I wanted to conduct a data experiment. I'm not sure if I'll be able to gather the data or not. Of, oh my god, of whether them seeing 99.9 makes them more likely to click subscribe, or if that doesn't affect anything. Oh. And what will I do if I reach 1 million? I do think we'll reach 1 million one day. I am a hard worker. I have big dreams. The coolest ideas haven't even come out yet. I do think we're going to reach 1 million. So what I'm going to do is have a really cool party. And okay. We're going back and forth on this. This is intense. I feel like some people want to be the 100,000th who are watching this and might be contributing to that. Or don't want it to hit 100,000. Maybe I have a whole gang of people sabotaging me who work for like one of the institutional things that I've roasted at times and are trying to, they don't want 6 digits here. They don't want my final exam to come out. I roast tests a little bit in it. I roast the educational system a little. So, we have even more, oh my god! Oh my god. That looks crazy. And it might go back down, but it's, oh my god. That is absolutely mad. And it is back down again, but that's okay. We can pass it again. I really didn't know we were going to be here this quick when I was filming this a little bit ago. When I was... Maybe, let me show you, like... I wonder if I... Yeah. I wonder if I have, this footage available. Yeah. Let me show a rare footage in a bit that I only put out for some Patreon supporters a while ago, but I'll show for you all in a minute, which is about a year ago when I filmed the first broken clock. And I had no idea it was going to go this fast. And don't worry, even when we... Sorry if I get a little... have a harder time talking. There's a chance I could get a little emotional in this stream, but I also don't know how much it's going to sink in because it's just weird and surreal. But for those who are worried that we've hit the only interesting milestone for this stream, don't worry, since 100,000 is a little overrated, I've also gotten pretty much ready here. On the OEIS, they'll have resources for this. Links to the prime number, the triangular number, and the next perfect power that will come right after that. So we could see if any of those are close enough that we'll hit any of those in the stream too. For some fans of prime numbers, they could argue that the nearest prime to this number is more fundamental than it. I could see an argument, although perfect powers are cool as well. Here's the thing though. 1 million is a little cooler because 1 million is a sixth power, and sixth powers are a square of a cube or a cube of a square. Fifth powers can't break down like that, so 100,000 is just 10 to the fifth power. You know, you can't really square and then cube it and stuff like that. A lot of 2s and 5s in the mix. So what we're gonna possibly hit in this stream as well, and you guys should stick around, I'll have some fun stuff to say in the stream and some fun stuff to show. Oh, and these things are falling from the sky. These weird puffy things, you know, that tree. And for anyone who does leave early, note that right after this stream's ending, I'm gonna click to make public the final exam video on the main combo class channel. So if you leave this stream early, keep a tab open to the combo class channel that you refresh in like an hour, because that's a really fun video. It's one of the more fun combo class videos, whether or not you end up clicking the link to the test after. And also note that it's not all math. A lot of it, when I go into the test, it sounds like it's all math. But watch the later sections of the test too if you get too mathed out, because there are some that are a little more philosophical or subjective. And what even was this one? Shoot, was this the primes or this was the primes? Whenever I hear those noises back there, I always wonder if it's a squirrel. You folks gotta let me know if I miss a squirrel. We got 2 squirrels in the episode dropping today. In the final exam, we get a double squirrel cameo. I mean, 2 separate times. We also get cameos from cats multiple times. Get Sage cameo, get 2 dandelion cameos. So, the first prime after it is... Oh, we're already past there. It's 100,003. So, we have passed the first prime after 100,000 as well. That's pretty awesome too. What about triangular numbers? Well, if we go down the triangular numbers a bit, we can see... Okay, I don't think we're going to pass that in the stream today. We'll probably pass that some point later tonight. 100,128 will be our next triangular number. It is the sum of the first 447 numbers. Too large of a triangular number for me to draw the triangle of. And what about our next perfect power. And I do need to plug this in. Listen to those birds. Thank you to the birds for helping. I bet you if there was no bird sounds in the background, less people would have subscribed and I wouldn't be here yet. So thank you, birds. Okay. I wish my whole bubble machine was working. The big bubble machine, or the one that makes like a lot of little bubbles, isn't working. But let me grab something over here, which is the smaller bubble gun, which does work. We'll make a celebratory bubble. Alright, this is my bubble machine. Well, the gun that's working, and I know when I say a celebratory bubble, it might sound kind of lame. You're like, a bubble? A celebratory bubble? But yeah, this makes a really good bubble. Technically multiple bubbles. Now, let's also remember, it's Pi Day for some people. When I blow a bubble, it's, and let me make my screen big for this. When I blow a bubble, it's also related to pi. Pi is not just about circles, it's about any dimension of circles has pi somewhere in the equation. Spheres have it too. And debatably, the most interesting thing isn't that it shows up in a circle. Of course, something was going to show up as the ratio. The interesting thing, debatably, is that it shows up in multiple different, what do you call them? Dimensions of circle. In the circumference formula and in the area formula. And when some scientists found it in both of those, or mathematician or whoever found it in both of those, I bet that was the first true amazing discovery. Not that there was a ratio, but that it was the same in different dimensions. Or that it showed up in the formula for any dimension. Now for the bubble fans, here you go. Might sound lame to some, but look genuinely how cool this bubble is. Bubbles in bubbles. A bubble full of bubbles. Also, the bubbles stick on the mud sometimes because they like wet things. Okay, I'll put this to, whoa, that's funny. The wind like makes it go without me even trying. Look, I'm not holding the switch. I'm not doing anything special. But if the wind is going, it'll just make the bubbles go on its own. Okay, it stopped right when I said that. But it's just making this thing generate its own little bubbles. Okay, we'll put this to the side for one moment. One last. Okay, some little ones. Those are cool too. Now, let me see if I can pull up this clip for you guys that I want to show you. I wonder when this was filmed. I was 1 year ago, I was getting ready. So 1 year ago would have been March 13th last year. I had the intro and 1 or 2 or maybe 3 more episodes filmed for the main Combo Class channel. Nothing that's on this channel had been filmed yet. I had the intro, the one about nines, the one about highly composites, maybe the prime one had been filmed. Maybe not even all those. I was just starting the process of filming Combo Class. And one of the first things I also filmed was the clock that burnt in the intro shot that I use in those episodes. Of course, when I show this, do not copy it. Do not copy any fire use of tools or whatever. The thing is, when you see that clock burning, you just see the end shot. You don't always see the process that had to go into it. And when I wanted to make that, I had the shot in my head and I wanted it to be part of my show. I had an idea for the look I wanted. And I was going to achieve it. I have certain shots that I have in my head how I want them to look, and I wait until I can get them that way. And I was like, I want the intro to involve this burning clock and the setup of all these dice and all these things I know are going to be recurring things. Real quick, let's just look at what I'm talking about. The burning clock I'm talking about is the one that is... Okay, I'm going to have the video pull up separately first. I don't want... I don't know if it's going to play an ad on the video, but if it does, I don't want it to play the ad on my stream. So, now, this is the one I'm referring to, of this clock. Right here. As you see this burning, I actually had a lot of tropes and recurring things here that I knew would be in the grade. I put a lot of classroom supplies. I knew I wanted fire and dice and clocks. And there's also in the intro episode before this, 9-1, the intro one of its own, has a lot of setup to things I wanted to include in the grade. And I wanted this shot. But you just see that part where it does that. Really, it was a process I filmed. This intro shot I actually filmed with Carlo, who's currently sort of my main camera guy. He comes over a few times a week. And this was way back in the day he filmed. I mean, it feels like... That's what's crazy, is it went so fast. It really feels like way back in the day, but as our story is actually set, this was 1 year ago. This video dropped 9 months ago, we can see. And then the actual behind the scenes of this, for this shot, was actually really painful. And that's because I was in between surgeries. I hadn't even gotten the first one yet. My first surgery that I got for my 2 legs, and I'll show x-rays of this in the finale episode and more details, but I had to get these 2 really intense major surgeries last year. The first one of which was in later March, slightly after a year ago. And the second of which was in July. And now there's ceramic and stuff in my hips and titanium. I'm a cyborg. Oh, squirrel! Thank you to the squirrels. It's just like the birds. We probably would not be at this subscriber count yet if it wasn't for the squirrels, because there's probably, even if 0.01% of the subscribers subscribe because of the squirrel, maybe that's being generous to the squirrels, but even if 0.0001% did it, we wouldn't be at 100,000 yet. So, thank you to the squirrels as well. Now, a year ago, I was in intense pain because I hadn't gotten these surgeries yet. And walking was insanely difficult. And I have the behind the scenes intro here somewhere that maybe I'll try and pull up and show you. I showed it to some of the tiers of Patreon supporters at some point. And let me look for where this would be. Now I'm going to, let's see, where would that be? It would be, and I will check the comments in a minute. I know I've been vacant from the comments in this, but I'll check on the comment people in a minute. What would this be? I know I have it here on the computer somewhere. Okay, here it is. Alright, there's even more of them than I ended up showing to all the people. Oh no, shoot. I need to, it's stored on an online storage thing here. If I, last time I downloaded it, it crashed the stream and made the stream really weird. I'm not going to be able to show that footage right now. I'll tell you about it. I will show that footage in the finale episode that's coming this month. But I'm worried it's going to crash the stream if I try and download it to show it. So, I'm just going to have to describe it, which is basically, and let me try and dodge this glare somehow. I hadn't gotten these surgeries yet a year ago, and so walking around to burn that clock, as you'll see in the finale, was intensely painful. My life was intensely painful, physically, and mentally is another story, but physically too was very painful. And now it's a lot easier. I still have more pain than the average person, and I still have to be in physical therapy and stuff, but I can walk again without being in intense pain just from walking. And so now it's going to be a lot easier to make grade -2 than it was to make grade -1. That wasn't only right at near the beginning after I'd filmed the first few episodes and while I was filming the first few, getting ready for that, but then I had to get, after the recovery period, which takes months to recover from a hip surgery, and then I had to get a second one in the other hip. So it was really hard. And that's part of why it's so crazy and all this stuff hasn't sunk in yet, is the whole year's just been a roller coaster. And I'm really, really appreciative to all of you who have joined me for the ride throughout the learning. And whoever's watching this probably likes the other side of the combo existence, like the nature or the philosophy or other things that go on in certain moments of it, which this stream's more dedicated toward because it didn't really have a mathematical singular goal. Although we didn't look up the next perfect power yet, which is a mathematical thing we can do in a minute. And just to check on the next oh no, I lost it. Well, okay, while I'm big I can search this up. Let's see when the next perfect power is, just out of curiosity. Perfect powers include 100,000, but the next one is 100,489, which is presumably a square number. That's the most common one. I mean, it's not definitely, but that's the most common. Yeah, 317 squared. Now, they also have a little pi symbol next to the calculator when you do a calculator on Google right now, probably because it's Pi Day. So, pi is really cool. It's classic, great constant. We will do some sort of video appreciating it tomorrow, probably, but I can't guarantee that because I've had so much other stuff coming out right now. This is the second stream of the day, and like I said, after this stream, the final exam is ready to make public. Final exam being optional, but at least watch the video where I present it. And wow, we got a lot of comments here. Let me scroll through these for a moment. Thank you all. We double checking that we're still above it. Where are we now? Yes, we are at 100,017 now. We are past it. We can get a little peek of that. We are at 100,017. So that's super cool. And let me go through some comments. Thank you all so much for joining me. All the people who join and comment and do cool things are helpful because they keep me motivated, keep the algorithm happy with us, things like that. As for how many clocks I've broken in total that someone asked, so far probably between 5 and 10 have broken, probably. There will be more clocks coming in grade -2, don't worry. And let's see. Someone's wondering if I injured my leg while teaching. I didn't. It's a long story about the legs, but I will explain it at some point. And thank you all so much. And as just whoever asked how I'm feeling today, I'm feeling pretty wild. It's been a chaotic ride. I spent a lot of the morning finishing my edit. I've been up really early and not sleeping well, honestly, but that's okay. I get up early and work on stuff. I'll work on the sleep later. And so I was up at what now is 6, but because of daylight savings, technically it was like 5 o'clock feeling, but it said 6 because daylight savings. So then I did a bunch of editing on the final exam, and it ended up taking a minute. In fact, if people are curious to see it, before I end this stream, because when I end this stream, I'm going to post that video or I introduce it. If people want to take a look at it with me for a second, I can show you the document of what the final exam itself is going to look like real quick. We can take a super quick glimpse at it before I explain it in the video. And at the very least, I will link it in the description of this video right before this stream is done or right when it's ending. But the video introducing it should be out almost instantaneously afterward anyway. So for how I'm feeling today, it's been a whirlwind. I just went from a lot of editing to doing the stream I had scheduled for Mondays to wanting to stream again to show you folks, to have you along for the ride. When past 100,000, then I might hang out with a friend later, because I had a friend or two who I was like, do you want to come over to say a cameo for the live stream? And they were like, oh, I'm working right now, because it's at a random time of day in my time zone. It's like, you know, right now it's still 3:30, but they might come over later when I'm done. And then tomorrow's pie day, and I'm gonna go somewhere to eat pies, literally, and looking like this for all of this. So I only cut this yesterday, and so there's a lot of whirlwind going on. Things have been moving quick, and that's okay and good. Part of the moving quick is the passing these subscriber milestones quick, and that's amazing. And I'm also feeling like pleasantly emotional about it. I've been trying to have this actually sink in and feel like this is a reality, because I don't always give myself any pride or credit for building this, but you know, I did build this out of the dirt with a little bit of help from friends and stuff, and so it's starting to sink in, which is good. Probably will continue to have more emotional moments once it slowly and steadily sinks in. For today's stream, though, I mostly just wanted to have you folks along for the ride, and we're just gonna hang out a little bit and chat, sort of like a Q&A, but there's nothing super crucial happening. What I think I'll say is, since it's 3:39 right now, unless anything really wild happens, oh, and real quick to the person who's leaving, there's not an end to the Fibonacci sequence. That was their question. And I will stream probably, unless anything wild happens, for the next 20 minutes, which will get us to 4 o'clock p.m. in my time zone, but it'll be when the hour hits in whatever time zone you're at. That's actually a good way to drop something, I guess. If you're in between hours, you just tell people it's coming out when the hour hits, and then that'll be regardless of time zone. So, unless this stream gets really exciting and wild, when the hour hits, the final exam will be dropping. So, that's on the main combo class channel, and that is a really good episode. Please watch it. It has some important messages in it, even if you don't care about the math part. So, it is, yeah, quite a week. And we'll open a little sparkling water to have around here while we chat. And what else was I going to note here? Somehow we dodged the flood. There was going to be a lot of rain here this week, and there still could be slated to be, but at the moment they switched the forecast, in my neighborhood at least, from oh, a squirrel's coming. Got to appreciate the squirrels. Anyway, they switched the weather from being like, it's definitely going to rain for 2 weeks in a row, to being like, it's going to rain half of the days in that span. So right now we got a lucky day, and we're also going to probably get enough of a lucky day later in this week that although it's quite muddy here, and in the mud we can see all of the dice in the midst, the dice carpet forming, but although it's quite muddy, I will be camping out here most likely. We'll see whether I live stream that or not, although it's likely I'll live stream part of it. But at least for part of the finale episode that I'm filming, I would like to experience the nighttime wilderness here. And it's usually very crowded here. So when I get rid of the last little section of my desk there, then I will have a little more room here. And it'll be the perfect time to set up a tent and see, you know, what types of nightlife come out. I don't know if there's any wandering currently, but over the years, various families of raccoons, possums, skunks, which I'm not as fond of the skunk family, and etc. Now, someone asked, can you find the entire works of Shakespeare in pi? That's an unknown question, actually. A lot of people assume that pi is known, that it contains every sequence of digits. However, that's not known. We know it's irrational and transcendental. We know that it can't be a fraction of integers. Can't have an end to its decimal where everything zeros after it. Can't have a point where everything repeats on a cycle in the decimal. Needs at least 2 digits that alternate in a non-repeating way infinitely. But theoretically, and this is something people don't talk about enough, I love these ones once in a while that are those theoretical possibilities, that there's no reason for us to suspect this, but it could be proven. It is not proven false or true. Is that theoretically pi could have a point where it stops having a certain digit. It could even stop having every digit except for zeros and ones, as long as the zeros and ones alternate in a non-repeating infinite way. That would be incredibly unlikely that we'll find that in pi. There's no reason to suspect it, but we haven't proven otherwise. So pi still has some mysteries. Some of those questions relate to its status as to whether it's a normal number, which is actually the name for this kind of complicated thing in math. There's multiple levels of type of a normal number, and based on how the decimals repeat. Not one of the most complicated, but you can go down a whole rabbit hole of it. It's just funny that they call it a normal number, when really, although it is probably the most common type of number, I mean, it is the most common type of number, we don't know if ones like pi are it. And it's not the most common type of number we interact with. And to whoever asked about Gödel's incompleteness theorem, we will go into that at some point for sure. I love logic and I love paradoxes, so we will definitely go into that. And I don't have an extreme amount planned for today, but I do have a bunch of my awesome combo lords joining me here. And so, for the time being, we'll just chat and appreciate the birds and get back to seeing the little thing flicker up so that we can know that not only are we past 100,000, but we're past the range where people might unsubscribe to get us lower than 100,000. We might have passed 100,000 for the final time. We may never again have 5 digits on this channel or fewer. So to check that, we'll go back to this thing. And yeah, we're really going up. This is really one of those days where it's mostly the shorts that get a lot of views that draw people here. But thank you to everyone who's here. For people who are here from the shorts, make sure to check out stuff like the main combo class channel, my random videos on here that aren't shorts, and stuff like that. There's a lot of fun learning that's not just in those shorts. Now, I could spend a long time going on and end up probably getting super emotional about all sorts of things, of the growth of the channel and the pain I've been through this year and a lot of things. But a lot of that is in the finale as well as in the episode before. And so probably not going to do an extreme amount of that here and leave the final exam and then the further upcoming finale to speak for themselves in that regard. Now, we will be logging off relatively soon because of that, and I'll be in a moment getting ready to drop the final exam. But if you want to stick around here first, like I said, why not take a little look at what the final exam is going to look like if you look at the written form. Now, in the actual video, as I'm explaining each question, which is pretty rapid fire, if you were gonna try and do the exam from watching the video, there'll be a lot of pausing and watching back and stuff. So, because really fast, one after the other. But they're showing little chunks of what is the text form, you can go to for all of you that hopefully want to give a shot to some of it over the next week or any amount of time, because although I'm releasing the answers in a week, no rush. Also, when I drop this video, it's really just meant as a personal challenge for people. If people do want to share their answers and you want to share them in a way that can hide them in a spoiler-like hidden way, which is possible if you do it correctly, then feel free. Awesome. I would love to hear from people who tried it, but only leave an actual answer or spoiler to some of it if either you put it on the Discord where you can tag it as a spoiler and do it as so, and probably do it on the puzzle discussion section of the Discord where people are already chatting about these weekly puzzles I do there with the Magic Fellow there. So that's, a puzzle discussion spot seems like a natural spot for if you're gonna discuss the exam questions. And if you want to discuss them on a YouTube comment, you can comment anything on the video itself, including that stuff. But if it contains a spoiler, please have it be like, say something about spoilers at the top, and then leave enough lines or lines that have barely anything in them, like a piece of punctuation or whatever, that you have to click that thing that says read more to see the spoiler part. You know how with comments, you got to click read more sometimes to get all of them. So make your comment long enough that the spoiler parts after read more, if you answer involving them. Don't feel like you're supposed to answer with them. You can if you want, but although I'd love to know from people who tried different parts of it, it's really just a challenge for your own brain. And that's why the answer video is one of the only videos that I'll recommend. Don't watch that if you don't think you are ready for it. Just ignore that video. You know, maybe that video will get a lot less views. Maybe that video won't help the channel because I'm saying this. But don't watch the answers video until you feel like you're done trying all the components of the test. If you think that there's a chance that in a month you'd try more of it that you didn't finish yet, then just don't watch the answers and wait. Because the test isn't going to go bad. It's not pop culture relevant or anything. This test will be fine in 10 years to do. So, and in fact, the test, the mathematical and other sections, I tried to make sure. I think that it includes knowledge that I think would be good for a person to know, even if the mathematical ones can include some, you know, mildly obscure terms, really just meaning stuff that if you study number theory enough, then you'd be able to crack all of this without having even seen my videos probably. But seeing the videos on the main channel will definitely help give you some clues to how to approach some of these and have the shortcuts without having to do a ton of work on any of them. They all have some sort of shortcut that makes them possible without a calculator or exterior help, apart from maybe having learned a term on the main combo class channel, which I probably also have introduced on this channel. And the only term that I used on it, which I did make a note of on there, the only term that's on there that's not a already commonly accepted mathematical thing is the word threeven. It's great to use in questions. Threeven numbers are classic and they made for great question components. So I did use the word threeven, and I had to make a note that there's one word on this test that if you didn't see any of my videos and you just know a bunch of number theory, all you're going to need to know to approach this test is that the word threeven means what you might guess. So let me pull open real quick what the test itself is going to look like, the written form of it. However, you can consider the video where I present it to be equally what the test is. The video is an even clearer representation of it, in my opinion, but the written form resembles, you know, the structure you're more familiar with the test being, and it would probably be what you'd resort to for at least the mathematical parts of it if you try these things yourself. Now, I'm only going to show the top of the test because there's other sections other than math that I want to leave out for a bit. I mean, they're in the video that's dropping right after this, but I want you to watch the video and get led up to the medium surreal topic that's opinion based, and then the more abstract topic that's a little different. So I'm only going to show you the first beginning of it, and I have it here. One moment. The combo class grade -1 final exam. The method that the text form is in, apart from, I will also post it on the Discord and maybe later on the subreddit. The main text form is a Google Doc that you can click that I made public. So, you know, like, it'll look like a piece of paper. So let me get that document open, and this is what you will be able to see. So let me actually, I kind of want to get it from the way it's going to look for you folks. So let me get it from that angle to make sure that it works from the link. So actually this will work for now. I'll have it from the link for you when you actually go there. So this is part of the final exam. I'm blocking the top. There we go. Combo Class Grade -1 Final Exam. Here, I'm going to read through this because the very intro might be mildly different than the video format. Here's the optional but recommended Grade -1 Final Exam. This text form will be released along with an episode on the Combo Class channel where I present this test in slightly more detail. If you'd like to self-grade yourself, each numbered question or prompt can be considered 1 point total, with fractional points given for partial answers, for a total of 30 possible points. However, getting a score is not the important part of trying this test. Each part of it can be seen as its own individual opportunity to help your brain grow. And to clarify that even more, what I mean is, if you don't think you're going to do the whole test, that's fine. Do whatever parts of it you think you might do. But also remember that it will require a little hard work to try the mathematical parts and maybe the other parts. And if you don't want to do it, think about, what does that say about my motivation to try things that are hard for me and that could be good for my brain? Maybe I should test or train that as well. My ability to work on things that are good for my brain, but that might be hard at first. Some of the questions on here will range from harder to easier, and in between. Now, here is a little section I go over mostly in the video that clarifies a few things as well. Open video, meaning you can watch any of the episodes again if it helps. Probably won't need to look up anything else or use a calculator, but if you need to, feel free. Start with trying to use your brain and your hands, then move on to, if you need, rewatching whatever episodes, then move on to, if you need, using a calculator, and if you need, looking up any terms. As we say here, the only mathematical term on this that isn't commonly used or accepted in mathematics is threeven, meaning numbers that are divisible by 3. Now, answers to the mathematics question will be released on the Domotro from Combo Class channel approximately 1 week after this test's release. However, this exam doesn't have... This is the thing I said about don't rush it. Do it whenever you think you will. You've done as much of it as is likely for you to ever do. So, mathematics section, we're going to look at the first few, and then I'm going to wrap up this stream and actually just post it. These are just some, I'm not even going to read them because I read them in the video. These are some examples of a few math questions that will be on it. And that's all we need to see for an example of the test, because the later parts of it, I don't want to spoil the video. There are other sections you'll learn in the video. It'll be out right when the stream ends. And the video is only 13 minutes, so even if you're not going to do any of the math questions, remember to hopefully watch the whole thing, but at least watch the beginning and the other section, a little bit of each section, because there's multiple sections of the test. It's not just math, although I got a little carried away. You know how I said there's 30 numbered things that if you're going to score yourself up to 30 points because there's 30 numbered things, well, and I don't want to call them questions because they're not all questions, but it's hard not to refer to them as like a test question. They're technically not all questions, but with those numbered ones, it is true that 21 are in the mathematics category, so a lot of them are there, but there are 2 other categories also. So, I hope that some of you try that. Let me go back to the chat to wrap up here. We will discuss more in the finale episode. Some of the rare feelings and thoughts I have and memories and footage of the past year that I've created all of this crazy stuff. And we are now up to 100,037, and we're going to keep going up. So, let me check our comments for a minute. Thank you all so much for joining me on this special occasion. And I'll try and check these relatively quick because I did mention I would be dropping the episode around 4 to anyone who vanished early. Thank you all so much for coming and joining. Alright, and to people wondering about the beard, you can watch the beginning of my last stream. I explained that a little more if you want to know the details about the beard, but you're not going to fully get the details until the finale drops in a few weeks. Because I'm going to work on this finale. Not the final exam, but the last episode of grade -1. And then after that, I'm going to have a friend cut this down to whatever the shortest point it is and make it all closer to that. And I'm going to shave the other half of the beard at some point too. But we're going to have it for a few weeks. And I am going to go to some social events like this week, so whatever. And what was I going to say? Oh yeah, a little extra footage of that might come out early to my Patreon people, because those are super helpful, and I do put some extra footage for those people. They also will get their name thanked in the finale on a whiteboard. So if you are a Patreon person and happen to see this, remember, let me know if you want any other alternate name. Otherwise, I'll use the one that you have showing on Patreon, and I will be thanking your names. And if anyone else, like, either donated to the channel on YouTube or helped out in some way, or left so many comments over months of span that you think I'd recognize your name, then you can also let me know, not in the chat right here, but in a comment responding to this stream or last stream, like a comment after the stream posts, and I will consider adding other names as well. So yeah, the beard will watch the beginning of the last stream I did earlier today if you want to know a little bit of the story, but you're really gonna have to wait to fully get the story till the finale. So, or maybe earlier if you're on Patreon. Thank you all so much for joining me. At this point, I'm going to wrap up the stream and post the final exam. So head over to the Combo Class YouTube channel, where I'm going to be uploading that. Should be out in less than 5 minutes of the stream being done. So probably 2 or 3 minutes after the stream's done, it'll show up on your end. So hopefully you already have notifications of some sort on for that channel. If not for this one, I would understand if you didn't on this one, because there's a lot of content here. But the Combo Class channel there, all the content on there is always super high quality, I make sure. So you should always be tuned into those, but especially today, because it's what we're calling the final exam, although it's very different than the average final exam. And I have some thoughts that are quite critical of tests at the beginning of it. And then I explain why, despite my feelings for tests that are a good degree negative, the reasons why I did make one. So, I love you all. I'm going to log off right now, and I will see you again quite soon. And wait, it's taking me a second to log off, so I do want to note to the people who are noting they can't afford stuff like Patreon. Like I said, if you had left comments over many months, I would be down to include your name too if you mention it to me. And if you're newer here, then leave comments for many months, and this may happen again in the future. There may be other times I'm saying this. So, you know, start leaving comments on all my videos, and I'll start recognizing your name. That is insanely helpful too, is the amount of time you watch videos, the amount of the videos you click, and the amount of them you comment on. If you do all of those consistently, that's at least as important as donating. So, and especially on the main channel, on the Combo Class one. So, you know, those are ways of helping as well. No worries if you're poor. I understand. I feel really weird asking for money. So I've gotten used to like plugging the Patreon as like having to do the business side of this, but I feel weird asking for money anyway, so no worries if all you can do is comment and watch a lot of the videos. So I'll catch you all again soon. Love you all so much. Head on over to the Combo Class YouTube channel if you have 13 minutes, because that's how long the episode's coming out.